Hello, everybody. Namaskar. It's wonderful to again get connected back with all of you. I am Tanaya, joining you live from Bangalore, India. After a pause of quite a few months, we, the Cradle team, are back again with our series of podcasts that take up topics related to life, related to growth. Sessions in which we try to talk about contemporary topics in light of the philosophy and teachings of our spiritual master, our Guru, Sri Sri Thakur. Well, today we will try to explore a topic on the much talked about subject these days, anxiety, which is so much rampant all around us. Those of you have gone through it, it definitely feels like a racing heart, invisible weight on the chest, voices in the head, and whatnot. It can be really, really overwhelming. Uh, it tends to tell us, to people who go through it, things like, you are not good enough, something terrible is going to happen to you, you are not strong, uh, the future looks bleak, and stuff like that. In the process of warning us, it actually tells us a lot of lies about our own strength, about our resilience, fortitude, about our safety, well being, about whom we really are at the core. So, the topic for our today's conversation is anxiety is lying to you. In the session today, we will try to uncover some of the lies and try to see how we can regain our calm, clarity, composure, and compassion. And with me to discuss this topic today is a person whom you are very familiar with. He has been our guide and mentor in the Cradle podcast series. May I please have him on my screen? Right there on the screen is Surya Prakash Mahapatra, our most beloved, most respected guest, mentor, and guide in the Cradle webinar series. While I'm sure a lot of many of you know him already, but still I'd like to introduce him a bit. Uh, Mr. Mahapatra is a leader, a thought leader in the space of corporate learning and development. He has over 25 years of experience in this field on incubating learning and development teams across multiple organizations. Currently, he is the Global Learning and Development Head for a large division in an MNC, especially working towards upskilling global talent in key skills, key areas such as digital, cloud, and the much talked about artificial intelligence. Mr. Mahapatra, welcome again. And thanks for
Thank you
always
so
being there with us as we run through the sessions. Uh, let's go ahead and get started. We are talking about this very important topic related to mental well being, which is anxiety. Uh, Let me just, first start off. We all know, right, that these days we are hearing a lot about anxiety as a subject. Uh, my question to you is, why does anxiety feel loud these days? Is it, as many people are saying, the new epidemic that we are faced with it? Or just that we all are talking about it a bit more? Your thoughts, sir?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And absolutely, anxiety, it's loud today. probably because of the multiple channels through which we get to know about it, the mainstream media, social media, through conversations, etc. But it's all over the place. But if you look at what's happening today, I think we have to understand or look at the human life cycle, especially in the present context. When a human being is in his childhood, the parents put immense pressure on the child to get best position, good marks, to excel in academics, in sports, in painting, in drawing, and everything. Right? That puts immense pressure, stress, anxiety in the mind of the child. The child grows up in this competitive environment, trying to be the best. In the 20s, he or she is spending all the time to be the best, have the best academic career, and excel. In the 30s and 40s, he spends time in consolidating, strengthening his career. All the focus is in career, professional excellence, success, growing in career, and so on. And that brings so much of anxiety and stress, performance pressure. Ambitions, aspirations also bring negative traits like overconfidence, performance pressure, and so on. But slowly, the man moves into his 50s and 60s, retires at some point in time. Then everybody is gone. The people who are roaming around him are no longer there. Who is to salute him are no longer there. Children are not there. They're far away, well established, busy with their career, making their career. They're with their families. They have no time. And when he calls his children, they pick up the phone and say, Dad or Mom, I'm a little busy. I'll call you back. Isolation, solitude, again, anxiety and stress. So it never goes away. All his life, man tries to gain something, and in the pursuit of that goal, he or she goes through um, all the hardships, all the anxiety and stress. And when he gains something, there is the fear of losing it. So if you analyze anxiety in today's context, it's always either the either the loss, either about losing something or the fear of losing something. One loses a good job, a good career, a title, a position, reputation. There is anxiety, there is stress, there is depression. You gain it, there is this fear of losing it. And man is always in this rat race, in that race of gaining and losing, and not knowing where he is heading towards in this mad rat race. In the corporate world, we call it rat race. Um, all the rats are running. Every rat is trying to leave the other rat behind, but not knowing where
where
it is
they're
going,
going.
what is the destination, right? So I think that's the problem. We are in a race without knowing what is the real purpose, what is the destination, where are we heading to, and that is really causing all the problems. My spiritual guide, Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra, says to understand your purpose, to understand where heading to understand life, you need to have clarity of vision. He says, wisdom destroys confusion because we are in the midst of confusion, but because we lack the real wisdom. The real wisdom is understanding an object in totality, right? He says, when one sees an object in a condition that reveals all that is to be known about it, one knows its very essence. So I think our vision of life is lopsided, very narrow. We have a myopic vision. We do not have clarity of vision. The question is, How do we gain that clarity of vision? How we destroy confusion and achieve victory over anxiety? I think we'll continue that discussion.
Absolutely. I think thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. I think you started with the human life cycle, talking about how in every stage of our life we can get affected by it. And at the root of it is our aspirations, our desires, etc. And as we were speaking, I saw a very interesting comment, but by one of the listeners coming up on screen, wherein he says that excessive career mindedness makes us carriers of mental stress and pain. Absolutely. And we have
Very
also
true.
seen, right, how these days, especially students, professionals, are too much focused on career, too much ambitious, and there is no end to it. And you talked rightly about the corporate, the term which we use these days so much in the corporate, the rat race. And Mr. Mohapatra, our spiritual master, Sri Sri Thakur, also says, and maybe we will speak more about it when we go into the next phase of our conversation, is desire unfulfilled is misery.
Yes.
So, and everywhere we are desiring something. Either we are desiring for good marks or a good career or companionship, right? As in the old age with our sons, daughters, wife, whatever, right? So at every stage, we are desiring something. And whenever it is either unfulfilled or we think it is not fulfilled, the perception also, right, leads to the misery, leads to anxiety and stuff like that. So again, many times, Mr. Mahapatra, we also associate stress with anxiety, right? We say that that person is stressed, there's so much of stress around, and that is why it is leading to those anxious moments. But do you think that anxiety is more than just stress? Could it be pointing to something else, maybe a bigger disconnect deep within us? What do you think?
Yes, yes. I think there is a bigger disconnect. The disconnect with our soul. That's the real problem. I think a very eminent personality once said, "What we take from this world gives us our livelihood, and what we give this world gives us our life." So, what does the soul want? Soul wants life, but what are we running after? We're running after livelihood. So, all our life we're taking and taking and taking, and but and that is about livelihood. But our soul doesn't want livelihood. Of course, that is important to survive. But soul wants life, and that's where the disconnection between us and the soul, right? Understanding what is the inner hankering, understanding what is the inner need, what is really life looking for. I think in the absence of that connection, I think we get into this phase of anxiety leading to stress and subsequently going into the phase of depression. So I think it's important to establish that connection back with the soul, which is more important. Diving deeper into our aspirations, diving deeper into our personality, our core personality, asking fundamental questions to ourselves: who I am, why I'm here, what is my purpose, what is the goal of my life, where did I come from, where I'm going to go after this, what is my relationship with this environment, with every other entity in the environment, what are the linkages. I think in the absence of those, in the absence of that connection with the soul, and when we probably in the childhood, out of our curiosity, we ask these questions. But some point in time, when parents say, "Hey, don't worry about this, focus on your studies, academics," and in some point in time when we get immersed in our career, and we just forget about those fundamental questions, and that's where the disconnect happens. So what we do, we run after something which is not the most important thing. because it's not connected. We run after livelihood, not life, right? We go after the least important things in life. We forget who I am, what I have come here. Am I really going after that? The life cycle example that I was giving, in the 60s or 70s, man then tries to reflect, in this long journey of my life, did I really accomplish what I wanted to? What was my purpose? Why I was here? Did I really get that? But sometimes it's too late.
So
It's too
rightly
late.
said.
Yeah.
So rightly said. And in this context, very recently, right, I chanced upon two very good books written by great American psychologists. Okay, and
Mhm.
nobody really recommended the book in the airport. I was just rummaging through some of the books there, and I chanced upon the books, and I
Okay.
kind of brought it home. So one is named Many Lives, Many Masters. It is written by an American psychologist, Brian Weiss. And
Okay.
another is titled Destiny of Souls. It is again written by another psychologist, Michael Newton. And
Okay.
I will urge my our audience today, to maybe, if you can grab that book, if you can have a copy of the book, nothing like that. And what essentially both these books tell us is how we should be aligned to the purpose of our life. The purpose of our lives are something different than what we are, maybe in our myopic view, as you told us, we are perceiving it as. And it's a larger play. And the more, if you, if we get deviated from our purpose, the soul definitely gives us signs. So, lovely books. I thought I'll just mention those. Again, Mr. Mahapatra, you talked about giving back, which currently we are all running after livelihood. As you said, we are all running after money. We are all running after getting things for us that satisfies our selfish desires, but not giving back. Very recently, right, and my audience, I think we have mentioned many times in our conversations earlier that we have a center of the satsang ashram established by our spiritual master Shashi Thakur. The main center is in Deoghar, Jharkhand, and there currently our Acharya Dev is there, who uh, who is interacting with people from all walks of the society day in and day out. Many people go to him with various problems, various confusion, and he, through his discourses, he through his interactions with different people, trying to uncover truths, trying to provide clarity, trying to solve the problems of people who go to him. So I have just read about this incident. So one aged woman apparently went to Acharya Dev and said that I'm very depressed. I don't feel well. So Acharya Dev, Shishya Acharya Dev asked her that, do you have good food to eat? She said, yes, I do. Do you have a house to live? He said, yes, I do. Do you do things for others? And then she was reflecting. No, I don't. So he said that you have everything. You have house, you have food, everything else in life. What you do not have is the action towards somebody else, towards uplifting others. You are not doing things for people around you. Once you start doing that, you will definitely start feeling happy. So the reason of your misery is you just being confined to your own self and not doing things. So again, connecting it back to what you said, Mr. Mahapatra, that we are all very engrossed in getting stuff, and we have forgotten how to give back. And maybe this is what is moving us away from what our soul actually is hankering after, right? So moving on, I think again, many times we get initial signs of anxiety, right? So how can we start noticing these initial signs? How can we start, or when can we start noticing when anxiety is actually distorting what reality is? And obviously, the follow up question is, what can we do in such moments?
Right. But first of all, before we notice, we need to prepare ourselves to notice, because there are so many things that are going on around us, but do we really notice everything? So we need to make our sense organs alert, our vision, our ability to observe things is more important. And in the absence of that, we really cannot notice things, which are giving us enough signals. So I recall an incident, a conversation between Biren Mahuri, disciple of Sri Thakur, and Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra himself. Biren Mahurida came to Sri Thakur and said, Thakur, my mind is filled with anxiety, with stress. I'm depressed. I'm worried. Nothing is going right in my life. Sri Thakur was sitting on a bench. He looked at Biren Mahurida, smiled, and said, Birenda, look at this bench. Can I can I really lift this bench while sitting on it? Birenda said, no, it's not possible. Thakur said, yeah, if I want to really lift that bench, and Thakur stood up himself to give a demonstration. He said, look, if I have to lift this bench, I have to detach myself from the bench and look at the bench as a witness. I have to separate myself from the bench. So, and he said, I can stand up and then lift it. I can elevate myself and then I can lift the bench. Sri Thakur said, look, if you are sitting on the mind, if you are attached to the mind, if you're in your mind, if you're entwined with your mind, can you really elevate your mind? Can you read your mind? Can you read the signals? You cannot. You have to become a witness. And if you have to notice the signals, and then you have to become a witness. And if you have to become a witness, mind has to become an object for you. You cannot be part of that object. You cannot be part of your mind. You have to separate yourself. So that's the most important thing. We need to really prepare ourselves to read our mind, to understand what's going on in our mind. Because the problem of anxiety, stress, depression, the problem is much deeper than what we see. It is actually, there are many deep rooted issues. When we are actually stressed and anxious, actually, we have lots of negative emotions which are playing in our mind. How do we read them? If we're attached with our mind, we cannot do that. But if we separate ourselves from our mind, then try to find out what's going on in the mind. We should be in a position to do that, because you were talking about Acharya Dev, and our Acharya Dev, who is our guide, because Sri Thakur is not in flesh and blood, and Acharya Dev is a living demonstration of the teachings, the insights that Sri Thakur propagated. Um, I think on one occasion he was saying there is no difference. There is a lot of similarity between life and water. He
Oh,
said, whatever
yes.
color you add to water, the water takes that color. If you add red, it looks red. If you add green, water looks green. He's saying whatever aroma or smell that you add to the water, it gets that smell. And he's saying life is exactly like that. Whatever you add to life, life is that for you. If you ask five people, how is life? Somebody will say life is fun. Somebody will say life is a challenge. Somebody will say life is a mystery. Somebody will say life is a riddle, is a puzzle. Somebody will say life is frustration, and so on. One single question, multiple answers, because everybody is adding different colors to life. So it's important to understand what are these colors. These emotions are colors. The thoughts, the emotions, the feelings which are going on in our mind, these are the colors. So if the feeling of sadness is going on in me, my life is sad. If I have a feeling, an emotion of happiness, my life is happy. I have a happy life, right? So it's important to understand those colors. Those are the signals, the ability to see those colors. So we need to have the discerning eyes, the clarity of vision. When we can see the inward, our inner being through our clear eyes, we'll be able to understand what's going on, and we'll be able to clearly see the world around us, and we'll be in a better position to deal with what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. But then again, implementing practically sometimes becomes difficult. It needs a lot of hard work, needs a lot of disciplines, needs a lot of guidance. So, Mr. Mohapatra, I would like to ask you, maybe you can talk about some real life ways, examples of how you manage anxiety, or how we all can rather push back against anxiety. Some of the small steps that we can take in our daily lives to
Yes, yes,
overcome
yes.
this.
Sure. So I will talk about it. What you said is something very important. Implementing this is not always easy, because everyone's ability to deal with stress is different.
It's
Some can
different.
some can encounter a very, very difficult situation in life, but they can still cope with it and move on. And some other people will struggle. We'll have to give the time. And some people will need help, right? Some people can deal with it on their own. Some will need a counselor, a guide, or a guru, or a coach who can help. As parents, as managers, leaders in corporates, we often forget the role that we need to play to support our team members, our colleagues, our children, our neighbors in the neighborhood. We just decide to move on in our life, because there are many people who can deal with it, who can apply these techniques quickly, and there are some others who struggle. So, coming back to this question, how do I deal with stress and anxiety? Because being a corporate leader, that's the day, that's part of the job. So, every phone call that I receive from a senior leader in the company, 99% of the time it's is going to bring anxiety or stress, because somebody is going to call you, somebody senior is going to call you because there is a problem, there is a crisis. So the moment the phone rings, that could trigger anxiety in the mind, right? So by virtue of being a disciple of Sri Sri Thakur, my spiritual guide, I have realized the importance of reliance and faith in superior power. And for me, that is my master, Sri Sri Thakur and Kulchandra. Sri Sri Thakur says, rely, you will become fearless. I just want to bring up, probably, I'll see if I can bring up a slide. I don't know if you can see. 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I'll just see if I can. Maybe there's a technical challenge. I'll just
Maybe
probably give it a
you can read
pass.
from it and then we can always
Um, I wanted to
explain.
share a picture, the picture of a man surfing in the sea.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful metaphor, because
Mm.
a man who's surfing in the sea has to, surf through the turbulent sea. And life is like that, full of turbulence. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down. But the man on the surfing board, an expert man, doesn't fall down, because irrespective of where the boat takes him to, he makes sure that he always stays attached to the surfing board, the board which is holding him, his foundation, something that is upholding him. So if we have the upholder of our life, and if you stay attached to the upholder of our life, the master, the guru, then we don't have to worry. So, by being a disciple and following his principles, I have understood the value of finding balance in life. Man today runs after wealth, money, no problem. But man has lost balance. Sister Thakur Chandra says, be wealthy, no harm, but be humble and charitable. See, such a one simple sentence, but teaches us how to find balance. We can be wealthy, but at the same time, we need to remain humble and charitable. So a guru is the balancing factor in life. So finding him, I've also found how to find this balance in the midst of all the contradictions, ambiguities. I have understood how to find that balance. So I think this reliance really helps, and the fundamental belief that every problem has a solution, that helps. And also the belief that no matter whatever happens, it's not the end of the road, because you have a
Absolutely.
larger, bigger purpose. What you are chasing right now is just a milestone. So that really helps me. So that's how I kind of try to deal with stress and anxiety in my life. And that has really kept me calm and composed and helped me navigate through this.
Absolutely. So good to hear that. And I can relate to definitely some aspects of it. And one thing, I think, again, another teaching of our Guru, Shri Thakur, which definitely has impacted me a lot in terms of how I deal with some of these ups and downs of life, is that in whatever, and I'm not able to maybe say the message verbatim as is, but the essence is that in whatever situation you are, think of it as a blissful will of the Father Supreme. That whatever you are going through, think that it is happening because of the will of Father Supreme, and I have to go through it. So, the acceptance factor, when we accept things as they come to us, our ability to deal with this becomes a lot more better. And in Bhagavad Gita, also, I think this is called the prasad buddhi. Whatever we get, it's like a prasad. So, we take it as is with all humility. And I think that acceptance helps us
Very
uh,
true.
in the way of our lives. And also, Mr. Mahapatra, and maybe since time is limited today, next time when we take up sessions related to this, we can talk further on this subject. But small habits and behaviors, that a concentric life comes along with it, because see, when you are having a spiritual master or a guide, living ideal at the center of your life, and obviously, having him at the center means you are always eager to fulfill his wishes, his commandments in your life, right? So, the space which you give to those negative emotions, stress, anxiety, etc., gets filled up by the eagerness or the action orientedness in terms of always being there to fulfill the commandments of the master, right? So it takes up that space, plus again the small habits around being disciplined, being clutter free, being hygienic, having healthy food, right? All these things has definitely an impact on our overall well-being, because physical well-being and mental well-being again are related to each other. A healthy mind rests in a healthy body, and vice versa. So again, we will talk maybe in some other time, uh, going deeper into these aspects of physical and mental well-being, and how small habits, behavior, how we get nurtured in our childhood leads to how we face some of the situations as we grow up, as we face across our life. Well, before closing the session today, Mr. Mahapatra, I would like to maybe have a rapid fire round with you. Four very simple questions, and I would expect very brief answers, one liner, two liner from you. Okay. As we are talking about anxiety, so my first question is your most anxious moment. What has been this ever in your life? Most anxious moment.
This was about 15 years ago. I was flying from Atlanta to New York, and the aircraft had a free fall about 200
Oh,
meters. Turbulent weather, very, very anxious moment. And what really helped me during that time is the holy name, the name that we receive when we take the initiation of the
initiation.
Master Guru of Sri Thakur. And the mantra, when I immediately started chanting, and that it filled my mind and body with energy, and I had a sense of surrender that whatever my master wishes, it's
Let
acceptable
it
to
happen.
me. So why should I worry?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What grounds you?
The infinite universe, the creator, the mercy of the creator. And when I think about it, when I think of my master, the guru, his infinite compassion, I just believe that, I'm reminded of my purpose. I forget everything about me, my qualification, my title, position, everything else that really grounds me at that time.
Okay. If anxiety had a shape, what would that be according to you?
To to me, it'll be like a leech.
Oh my
Once
God.
it stings you, it's very difficult to take it out, and it drinks our blood, right? Anxiety is like that. Once we come under its grip, it really takes away a lot of our energy and strength. So I think that's how I would describe it.
And that's why prevention is always better than cure,
Prevention is
right?
always better. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we are doing sessions like this, right? So that we prevent ourselves, prevent people around us getting into this trap of anxiety. Okay, my last question to you again. The morning ritual which you swear by.
Gratitude to my master, my guru. As a follower of Sri Thakur, we follow a daily practice called Istavriti. Istavriti is an act of gratitude. We offer an daily oblation to our guru before starting our day, before having any food or taking water. We just look at our guru and then say, I got this beautiful life because of you. I have got everything in my life because of you. I have a very fulfilling life because of you, and I express my gratitude towards you. And believe it or not, the moment one does that, it fills the mind with immense amount of positivity and strength. That is the power of gratitude to the master, and the day follows.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very beautiful thing. I know we all do right at the start of our day. And gratitude definitely is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And many times, anxiety, stress, everything, this comes from our focus on have nots, what I don't have. But the moment we shift our attention to what actually the Supreme Father has blessed us with, what we actually have got, once our heart fills with gratitude, I think everything just vanishes away and we are filled with bliss, we are
Very true.
filled with happiness and joy. So, on this note, thanking you, Mr. Mahapatra, for joining us again, guiding us again. As you know, I definitely love always speaking to you, and I keep learning from you, your expertise, your wisdom.
Thank you for this
Thanks to
opportunity.
our Thank you. Thanks to our audience as well for joining us. I know overcoming anxiety is not so easy. It's very difficult. And if you are going through anxiety, please do ask for help. Please do ask for medical help. But at the same time, along with it, please do look at your own life. Is your life concentric? Are you taking those small steps which helps move life in the right direction? Are you doing something for your environment? With On this note, and maybe with a message from our beloved spiritual master, our guru, from the holy book Satyanasaran, let me end this session today when he says, say not you are timid, say not you are a coward, say not you are evil minded, look towards Father, speak fervently, oh, I am your son. Within me there is no more dullness, no more weakness. I am no longer a coward. Never again, forgetting you, will I run towards hell and my back towards your light, crying, darkness, darkness, darkness. Well, both of us, me and Mr. Mahapatra, wish you lot of love, lot of light ahead. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.